Welcome, goddesses, to Juicy Living, hosted by Lourdes, Starshower Pollock, and me, Allie McPhee. In this webinar, we explore redefining your orgasm and how orgasm is not the end goal, as well as tantric eye-gazing for intimacy and lovemaking, self-pleasure practices, and my personal favorite, the best sex ed class ever. This is truly what we missed in high school and middle school, ladies. Lourdes Starshower is a tantra healer and educator for women, men, and couples, a sacred sexuality coach, and a clinical hypnotherapist. She helps reconnect and ignite couples and hosts ecstatic Dakini Tantra practitioner certifications in her city of residence, West Palm Beach, Florida. Lourdes is dear to my heart. We met at the East Coast Tantra Festival, and her class on sensual pleasure stimulated all my senses to release the limitations on how much pleasure I could allow myself to fully receive, as well as broke any limited paradigm beliefs that aging and moon pause meant we become less juicy. At age 59, she is one juicy lady and is on a path to help others connect with their Amrita fluid, vitality, and pleasure. If you're digging Lourdes' information, you can connect with her on Facebook at Tantra Healer Florida or tantrahealerflorida.com. I am filled with joy to be able to share her wisdom with you today on this path of sacred sexuality.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, It's really connecting, like you said, with the yoniverse and our own yonis, and whether, we have a yoni or we don't, because, some women have had hysterectomies. That energy, that power is still located there. It's our feminine power, and the energy always remains. And it really is our source of creativity. It's the sacral chakra. It's where relationships and energy and emotions are stored there. But really, this is the space of our creative potential. And so many of us, are thinking with a brain, like, how can I, do this for my business, or how could I do this with my schedule? Or, it's always like plan. But when we're really able to breathe into this space, our yoni and our womb space, and really listen to that as our source of intuition, as our source of guidance, that's where the real magic happens, I believe, because the yoni itself is like a womb cave. And when you're able to really tap into that and allow the womb space to be the guidance for your life, it can give some powerful feminine messages.
Beautiful.
So I really like that we're already on the subject, because I would like to talk a little bit about like sacred sexuality, as well as more about this sacral chakra health and how we can activate our feminine power from this space. So I know that in our society right now, our culture is very focused on orgasm as the end goal. And I know that you teach something opposite, which is all about orgasm not just being the experience of the heightened pleasure and then the release, but orgasm kind of starts throughout the whole process through just experiencing life and slowing down. So I'd love for you to just maybe share some of your thoughts on what orgasm really means and kind of redefine it for us. So
Allie, I'm actually sitting with the words you just said, because they're really powerful, and they weren't going to be my words, but I want to start with those. So this idea that orgasm is about going down and really being present. And there actually are many different types of orgasm. So most of us think of orgasm as sexual release. Use that nomenclature or that idea that orgasm is release. Orgasm is ecstasy. Orgasm is connection of your sexual pleasure with your heart, your consciousness, directly to the divine. If you are self-pleasuring for orgasm, if you are with a partner and you're having an orgasm, then through your orgasm and through your heart connection with your partner, you are connecting directly through the divine together. So there's a loop. Imagine these are the two people, and this loop goes from heart through heart and up to connect to the divine. And there are many other loops happening in their body as well. And going back to what you said about orgasm being presence and pleasure, states of bliss that are orgasmic in meditation, in shavasana, the afterglow of yoga, you can have them in nature, in connection to nature. And the continuum, the place where the two connect, the sexual experience, the spiritual experience, the nature experience, is that they're all one inside our bodies. All of our chakras, when all of our energy centers are open and spinning harmoniously and balanced, and we allow the energy that is present in the earth, in the sky, in all of nature to us, we can have orgasmic ecstatic bliss by looking into somebody's eyes or any of the other ways that I mentioned above. And so if I can go on from there to this idea of the goal for most people in sex is to have an orgasm. So I'm reminded of this idea that if you're going for something, that it won't happen. A bicycle on a narrow path where there are trees to your side and saying to yourself, don't hit that tree, don't hit that tree, don't hit that tree, you're actually more likely to hit the tree than if you are looking straight ahead and really enjoying. In sexuality, if you are wondering, my fists on purpose because our necks tighten and our throats tighten and our chests tighten and our yonis tighten if we're thinking, oh my God, I wonder if I'm going to be able to have an orgasm. Is he going to be able to give me, or she going to be able to give me an orgasm? Or am I going to be able ever? Or if the man, I thought there might be one man present, I don't know, but if a man or the man that you're with is thinking, I wonder if I'm going to be able to last long enough or stay hard long enough or give her an orgasm or please her or make her think I'm the best lover so that she'll want to stay with me, or any of these, it's less likely to happen. And less likely to happen in a large way, even if it does happen. So in times where we focus on love and pleasure, how much love can I receive? How much love can I take in as ecstasy? Love can I allow my partner to share with me? If I'm by myself, how much love can I receive and give to myself? Partner also, how much love can I offer to this person? How much love can I allow to flow forth from my heart into my hands, into my mouth, and into my yoni to give love and pleasure? And so as we're making love, if any other thoughts come in, we go back to love. I love this person. I love the way this person feels. I love the way my body feels. I love the way their body feels. Love that we're having this experience. So you don't even have to be really, really, really in love to experience the energy of love. And that is what brings us to the highest level of ecstasy, the highest level of pleasure, the most likely possibility that the orgasm without the goal of orgasm will happen, and will happen in this really beautiful way.
I love that. Thank you. A couple of thoughts were stimulated from my mind as you were talking. You had mentioned like the connection of the eyes and even connection of the breath. And, you know, for many women, I feel like, and I mean myself included, when I think of times when you're experiencing pleasure or even starting to reach your climax, like it's very easy to have the eyes naturally close and just kind of like surrender. But instead, maybe practicing looking into your partner's eyes while you're climaxing and taking a breath and seeing like what that whole deeper intimacy level can open up for you when you're really connecting with them through the eyes, through the breath. And because our eyes, it's a vulnerable thing. And I mean, even in like business matters and work matters and relationships, there's a difference between listening to somebody and kind of looking around and not really connecting with them. And then there's a difference between looking at them and staring deeply into their eyes with this like full presence. It can be kind of scary. It can be like really intimate, and almost to the point that it's like when you're looking at them, you're showing a very vulnerable part of yourself, because your eyes are a reflection of your soul. When somebody looks deeply into your eyes, they can see your emotions, they can see everything. So when you're looking at somebody like that and you're feeling your emotions come up, to be able to sit with that and take a breath and keep doing it, you start to show up in the world in so many different ways that you didn't even realize you could, that it was safe to do. And I mean, for me, that's why I kind of fell in love with Tantra. It was first these eye gaze practices and like really holding myself accountable. And what I noticed from this experience is that my relationships with everybody else, like even coworkers, even, you know, friends, even my clients, began to become that much more intimate, just because I was able to allow more of myself to come out to the surface and really like share myself through my eye gazes. So
yeah, and it enhances your life in so many ways, as you said. And when you're making love, and I actually want to change one word that you said, and I'm sure it was inadvertent. You said staring deeply. And I want to take away that thought of staring, because when we eye gaze, there's a soft focus. Soft focus. It allows us to see our internal world and to see beyond features of this person, but to see, as you said, through into their soul. And this softness that ensues between the two pairs of eyes, ability, as you said, to feel the emotion of the other person, to perhaps even a deep love for the other person's soul, and to sense the innocence and the beauty of this person, regardless of what is showing up in the lines, the hardnesses that some of us develop in our facial features over life. And so we soften, we sense each other. It's extremely healing for both people to practice eye gazing. And when making love, there can be this beautiful fiery connection between your eyes that can ignite even higher passion, and having it be an even more cosmic and healing experience, to open your eyes most of the time during lovemaking, not just during orgasm, at any time where your eyes can meet. And when I started practicing this, I remember sometimes saying to my partner at the time, "Oh my God, don't close your eyes," because there came a point where I was enjoying and feeding off of the soul connection that I never wanted that to end, that infinite gaze deeply into his soul, beyond his soul, into the cosmos.
yes. Yeah, I think in a world of overstimulation and consumerism, we're so focused on the next task, and a lot of us, you know, have our phones or have our computers or have our TV, and sometimes we forget that deep, intimate connection with another human being and being able to make that connection in real person. And sometimes it can be tough to show up in ways that are fully present.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is a good time to talk about a self-pleasuring ritual for women.
Please.
So, yeah. So buy yourself flowers, light your incense, light your candles, wear a beautiful outfit, take a hot bath with some roses, whatever it is that really turns you on. Look into a mirror and look into your eyes and do the same eye gazing that we were discussing earlier with yourself. Tell yourself that you love yourself, and tell yourself what you love about yourself on the physical and on the internal. And this is what we did in our self-marriage yesterday, by the way. We used a mirror and we looked into the mirror and we read our vows to ourselves, and it was incredibly powerful. So the power in self-love and in harnessing the power of orgasm for your intention, as you mentioned, Ali, and also for developing even greater self-love. So the oxytocin that we develop in orgasm, or that we release during orgasm, during childbirth, can also be released just by massaging at our heart. So after our eyes, and we're working our way down, and the reason we're working our way down is that women come to pleasure from top to down. So we first intellect and our eyes and our hearts, and then we work down to the yoni. So, and I hope that as we are, you are also right now placing your hand and circling it around your heart, and just close your eyes for a moment and just feel it. The oxytocin will begin to be released pretty quickly, and the more you're connected here, it will release, and the more it will release. And just say, I love you. And say your name. And say what I love about you is. And then just keep saying what I love about you is. And what more I love about you is. Love about you is. And if you can only say one or two things, and you keep up this practice, pretty soon you'll have more. So we're working down, then we get to our breasts. So our breasts are our heart connection, directly to our hearts, directly to connect pleasure to our hearts, to our emotion of love, and directly through our hearts. So when we self-pleasure and we're pleasuring our breasts, to make sure it's not just about, you can't see me, I think, it's not just about, you know, pleasuring them in whatever way, but it's about, oh my God, I love myself so much, so that you're really connecting to that love as you feel the pleasure. Then we go down, after we've done that, whatever amount of time feels right to you, you come down into your belly and into your womb space. What my womb space is and my belly is. And, you know, whether we've given birth, that's what we love, or we're birthing projects and birthing creativity, because all of that, as Ali said, is the womb. And giving love for that. And then moving into our hips and our buttocks and loving them, whatever their shape, whatever their size. Then coming to our thighs and loving our thighs, all with soft sensual pleasure. So I'm going to show you here that when I touch myself, I want to give myself God bumps. I want it to feel incredibly delicious. I don't want to go like that to my clitoris. Because clitoris doesn't really like that, first of all, and you're making it a physical experience. If you're listening to this webinar, you are not a 3D reality, official world kind of person, and you don't want your sex to be. So everything we just did brings us into love and brings us into a higher dimension of 5D reality connection to ourselves. If you're with a partner, you can do the same thing. It's just with your partner. So now we're getting to the yoni. That I want to show my...
Yeah, Lourdes showed us this at the Tantra Festival. This is the sexy sex ed that I was talking about. I hated sex ed in high school, but I liked, this was like a whole new world for me.
So this is the yoni verse, and I'm going to give you a quick on her, on how to love her. First of all, you know, love her. You see, there's this like love connection between you and your yoni. And you have out here and coming from the clitoris and downward has, besides the clitoral head, it has a shaft and it has legs that come down here. Also have vestibular bulbs, which are shaped kind of like kidneys. And they're under here, they're under the outer lips, and past the outer lips and up to here. And all of that is what's now being called the clitoris. And if you go online, just look for the clitoris flower. You can actually go into YouTube and Google the clitoris song. I'm not sure if that's the name of it, but you'll find it. It's this really cool blonde woman who makes this song about the clitoris being more than you can see, and I won't even try to sing it, but it's wicked awesome. And it shows you this picture of the clitoris flower, which is the clitoris with the head and the shaft and the legs, and these two vestibular bulbs. Really the clitoris. So when the man grew outward into his penis and his family jewels, which we call the lingam in Tantra because it means wand of light, or vajra, which means thunderbolt, you did not get ripped off. You got the entire inside structure, plus the clitoris, plus your G-spot inside. Let's talk about the other areas, and then we'll go to the G-spot. Underneath here, and you don't see that it's cut off, but just underneath the vaginal opening or the yoni opening, you have your perineal sponge, which is another place of pleasure. And what I'm showing you is your pleasure anatomy. Talking about have no other purpose in your body than to give you pleasure. Your clitoris, your vestibular bulbs, your clitoral legs and shaft, your perineal sponge, and your G-spot. Your G-spot is actually much longer than a spot. I'm going to show you sideways at the top in case you haven't already explored. And it is the entire bottom of your urethral tube. Your urethral sponge is the outside of your urethral tube. Your urethral tube, that's obviously where you pee, and that's above the opening of the yoni. And the bottom of that urethral tube is your urethral sponge, and it's actually quite long. So get in touch with it. You're welcome to take off your panties and explore it now if you want. I have no issues about that. And if you don't want, you can replay this and explore later. And feel the ridges, it's soft ridges, and that's your G-spot. It's not mysterious. Some women tell me they've never even explored it, they've never touched it, or if they've gone inside there, they haven't quite found it. Pretty easily if you just set your intention to feel in there and find it. So, self-pleasuring. The outside, once we get to the yoni, and we pleasure the vestibular bulbs, the perineal sponge, just above the clitoris on the Venus mound, energetically connects directly to the sacral chakra. That's what I call it. It's also your creative chakra. Actually, the chakra is actually just above the clitoris. So you can also energetically go here. So basically all you have to remember is at the top, at the bottom, and on the sides. Then come to the outer lips. I call them the outer lips rather than majora because some women's inner lips are bigger. We all have different flowers and all of them are beautiful. Some women, one lip is longer than the other. Some women, these are really long and these are smaller. Whatever they are, outer, inner, because mentioned in a woman's flower. So out here, you can take your fingers and you can rub and you can do all kinds of different moves out here, and you can just touch. All of these feeling for pleasure. Where do I feel pleasure here? And then find, just like you did with your clitoris, hopefully, at some point. And it will, if you haven't already, finding where is their pleasure. Now, all of this makes this entire erectile network, just like a man goes boing, you get puffy, you get dark, you get wet, and you get warm. So take a little selfie before you start to pleasure, just, and then erase it later if you have children that might peek. And then take one after, and you will see your flower blossomed, and it opened, and it got really puffy and juicy and wet and hot. You'll feel the hot. And then now you're ready to touch the inner lips. So they weren't ready before this. And after you touch the inner lips, which should be already lubricated, if not, please use some coconut oil or some sesame oil. If you have a regular pleasure practice, even if you're over 50 or 60 occasion, and if not, begin with coconut oil or sesame oil until that happens. Please don't use over-the-counter stuff because it's toxic and goes right into your body. most of you already know what the clitoris loves, but if you haven't explored, you can do all kinds of side, up and down, circles, and play with that. But try to avoid, and try to avoid a vibrator. Because a vibrator will actually short circuit you energetically. And if you want to have energetic whole body orgasms that run through your whole body and go, ah, for a long time with high pleasure, instead of, ah, at the energy. And we can talk about energy later. So then you get to your clitoris, you do whatever your clitoris loves, and then either before or after your clitoris orgasms, explore your G-spot. Have a G-spot orgasm. You can have a blended orgasm with one finger on the G-spot and one on the clitoris, or your thumb on the clitoris. And if this is more advanced, reach up to your cervix. You can play crystal bowl, which actually looks like an upside down, or feels like an upside down crystal bowl to your finger. And one of my favorite things to do in there is to just play the rim slowly and gently and feel the pleasure in that. Clitoral orgasms are pleasure. G-spot orgasms are pleasure plus emotional pleasure. And cervical orgasms are pleasure plus high-level emotional pleasure plus cosmic ecstasy. So you don't want to leave that one out eventually. Thank you, Yoni.
Oh my gosh. Oh my Gaia. I am so glad that you are in my life right now. And I'm grateful that you shared this with all our women, because they don't teach it like this in school. You know, it's very like the birds and the bees. And then if you sneeze, like it's like a small percentage of an orgasm or something. Like, no, the way that you described it, I'm going to have to like practice things in a whole new way.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to comment, before you went into the sex ed, I really love how you were saying, like, when you are starting to like rub your heart and rub your breast, like giving yourself these self-love, like talk and dialogue, because I feel like we can be our own internal critics in this world, and we can beat ourselves up all day long. Like, you know, around people, like if we say something we don't think sounded good, or in our business if we don't think that was a good move, or it's just constantly all day long we might not notice the negative, like I don't like you kind of chatter that's beating us up. And so when we actually take time every day, like you said, to just like, I love you. You might have like tried to do this today and it may have not been like the best thing that you could have done, but like, I love you. I accept you. I love you. Like feeding that positive energy, your body listens to that. It softens you. It really builds inner self-love and inner trust. So thank you. Thank you for sharing all that, Lourdes. Like, I just love you.
Yeah. And Ali, that's so powerful for me that I want to add one thing to that. And that is that you did a great job. You know, like even if your project didn't fully go, like what I love about this project was, instead of, oh, I didn't do this and I didn't do that, I could have done this, I could have done that. Oh, what I love about this project and what I love about how you did this project is this. Because, you know, so often as children, we seek recognition. Like when we dive into the pool, we want mommy and daddy to say, yeah, you dove into the pool. Well, still as adults, we still want somebody to say that. If we can get to the place where we can come out of a project and come out of whatever and say, wow, you did an awesome job. And what I love about what you did was blah, blah, blah. Then you're carrying your shoulders back, your head up high, and it doesn't really matter what everyone else thinks.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, really being our own mom and dad, you know, not looking for that validation, creating it from the inside out. Thank you for that. I'm sure all of you are feeling pretty excited after this webinar, and I just want to say thank you for taking time to devote time to nourishing your pleasure and nourishing these avenues, because every time you commit to something like this, you're just giving yourself more resources. And yeah, thank you for showing up for yourself. Much love to all of you.
Namaste. Love you all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Lourdes. Oh, thank you so much, sister.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. All right, take care, everybody.